Hindu history reveals the appearance of Sri effulgence of light in the form of the sacred hill of Arunachala continuously radiates the energy of enlightenment. The second, in the form of the worship of full Shivalinga deity in the Arunachaleshwara temple in Tiruvannamalai. And the third, as a living incarnation to continuously guide the people to the path to enlightenment. Paramashiva's promise to humanity to manifest as the mountain, Shivalinga, and incarnation in Tiruvannamalai. In the Arunachala Puranam, it is mentioned thus: as the devotees asking Paramashiva how one can worship his mountain form, pray to him to grace them with a linga form that they can worship. Shri Arunachala, who is the form of the hill, other than rain from the sky as Abhisheka, who will perform Abhishekam by bringing water. Other than groups of stars, who can offer you. So they request him to appear in the form of a linga under the hill to enable them to offer puja by doing Abhishekam and other rituals. On the 10th day of this grand Brahmotsavam, a great flame is lit inside the Arunachaleshwara temple at 2 o'clock in the morning. It is a significant ritual that describes the origin of the cosmos. From one light, another lamp is lit, and that way creation happens. The lamp bells start clanging. Near the Homakunda or the fire, Bharani Deepam, and it is a prelude to the Kartika Deepam that is lit later the same day atop the hill of Arunachala. In the Arunachala Puranam, Paramashiva declares that on this very day of Kartika Purnima, those all to experience oneness with Paramashiva should climb to the top of their nearest hill and light the lamps. The significance of lighting the lamp on the hill is that the universal Lord manifests in the 5 elements during the day, and in the evening again he becomes one with the absolute being, shines as the Tejo Linga when the Deepam is lit on the hill. Bharani is one of the 27 stellar constellations through which the moon is believed to pass through successfully each day according to the Hindu almanac. Bharani precedes Kritika, which is the constellation of Kartika Deepam. The grand celebration of this Brahmotsavam is the Mahadipam. This ritual is the celebration of the ultimate experience of oneness with Paramashiva. The lamps were set out in the morning, are brought back and merged into the Mahadipam in the evening. At that moment when the Mahadipam is lit, it is the moment when Paramashiva gave the enlightenment to Parashakti. He graces as Ardhanarishvara, where the deity is half Paramashiva and half Parashakti, and has grace showing the ultimate truth that we are all not bound by the gender identity, we are truly beyond gender, and the truth that Paramashiva is the transcendental gender, Ardhanarishvara. Ardhanarishvara graces and dances in an ecstatic bliss when the Mahadipam is lit, when the Mahadipam of Paramashiva is lit. Seeing these events, when the whole cosmos is celebrating Paramashiva, can raise us to the same space of oneness with Paramashiva as Parashakti had. Under the most compassionate and all seeing gaze of the Lord of Arunagiri is the place which Paramashiva decided to make his 1008 descent onto planet Earth. Arunachala is capable of removing all the sins of those who merely see him and of fulfilling all the desires of those who worship him. The mountain of Arunachala is capable of granting liberation to even those who utter the word Arunachala from a great distance. It is well known that what is called Arunadri is the embodiment of effulgence. He exists as the eternal column of light represented by the glorious hill form, whose immovable self can only be moved by the sincere and pure yearning of the beloved devotees. A billion Brahmas came together, they would fail to narrate his glory satisfactorily. The capture the glory of Arunachala, the moon, Surya, the sun, Agni, fire, Indra and other devatas, the Dikpalakas, the protectors of the quarters of the cosmos, Siddhas, Charanas, Yakshas, Vidyadharas, Gandharvas, Nagas, Sarpas, In order to get rid of their sins, all of these beings offer worship to Arunachala and attain fulfillment. Centuries ago, the great Lord Brahma was meditating sincerely when his son Sanaka Rishi approached him, filled with deep seeking to realize the supreme consciousness Paramashiva. On being asked to narrate Sanaka Rishi, Lord Brahma was filled with divine which overflows from him as Anandasparana, the tears of bliss. Though misled by his own arrogance in his timeless epic, Lord Brahma himself is the one who narrates this story to his son, with not even an ounce of pride left in him, or not even a vengeance against Paramashiva, whom he had perceived as his punisher. But instead, Brahma remembers with the deepest reverence such the compassion of Paramashiva, and to liberate one even beyond the slightest hints of one's pain. Having invoked Paramashiva in his inner space, Brahma begins to narrate the entire happening of Arunachala with deep humbleness and gratitude to the one who liberated him. Lord Brahma recalls his own immense egoism. From the supreme effulgence, which is the eternal Shiva, Narayana, Mahavishnu, and I were born in accordance with his desire. Both of us manifested spontaneously. Once, out of egoism, we engaged in an argument and started to fight. Seeing the terrible rage into which we had fallen while quarreling, the Lord reflected, why should there be a destructive fight between these two? As to who is greater, if I do not reveal myself immediately to both and stop their fight, the world will cease to exist. These two, who have lost their senses, do not know the Vedic truth that my glory transcends everything. Each creature self superior to every other creature. The ignorant who cannot realize equality or superiority fail. I shall reveal myself in a definite form somewhere in the world so that even a mean human being can attain me and the moment he thinks of me. Thus, Paramashiva manifested first as the Teja Stambha, the infinite shaft of effulgent light to liberate Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu, and subsequently manifested in the form of the sacred hill Arunachala to liberate the whole humanity itself. Even as he was present in the hill form, those who were dearly devoted to him sweetly lamented, other than the rain from the sky, who will perform Abhishekam, the sacred bath for you? Other than the stars, who will make a pearl garland for you? Other than the rays of the sun, who will offer Deepa, the lit lamp for you? Hearing their pleas for the sake of the devotees, only his devotees worshipped Paramashiva, sang his glory, and around him built incomparable towers and carved walls that would stand tall as the glorious Arunachaleshwara temple till today and even centuries into the future. Therefore, the Kshetra of Tirunamale is the very place on earth which Paramashiva declared as his home thousands of years ago in the three divine forms, the sacred hill Arunachala, the Linga Arunachaleshwara, in the form of and third in the form of an incarnation of Paramashiva who lions time and again in the human body in the fourth form which was not declared by Paramashiva here Guhasaya as Shiva, the one who resides in the hearts. This is the true essence, especially among the townspeople of Tiruvannamalai, for whom Arunachala, Antaryami, who is the Antaryami for all of them. Their Supreme Lord and their most intimate partner, making it possible for Paramashiva to appear again and again as one among them. Adhering to his most compassionate boon for humanity, Paramashiva himself comes down to the planet Earth and guides Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu to creating the enlightened civilization of Tiruvannamalai. Since then, this place beings who seek the most supreme truth, but as the cosmic beacon of light, which allows for the outworldly beings to descend and ascend the 14 planes of existence and ultimately unite with Paramashiva himself in the primordial form. Since the time of Paramashiva appeared in the form of an effulgent column, the place has been witness to all the different yugas and slow degradation of the original dharma set forth by Paramashiva. When the mind, intellect, and the sense organs are dominated by sattva, when there is genuine liking for spiritual wisdom, knowledge, and the performance of asceticism, one should know that this is the Krita Yuga. When embodied beings show devotion and liking for the first three purposes of human life, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, that attribute called rajas controls the attitude of people. Note that is the Treta Yuga, when the time and the attitude of people is controlled by a mixture of rajas and tamas, lethargy, when greed, discontent, pride, hypocrisy, jealousy predominates, and men like to perform religious acts for achieving desirable ends. It is the Dwapara Yuga. In the Kali age, only 1/4 of each of the 4 feet of Dharma remain, and that too goes on diminishing day by day by the powerfully increasing feet of Adharma to such an extent that ultimately it becomes extinct. In the Kali Yuga, people will become greedy, take wicked behavior, will be merciless, indulge in hostilities without any cause, unfortunate, extremely covetous for wealth and worldly desires. As a result of Kali's influence, mortal beings become dull witted, unlikely, they become robbers, kings, man eaters, twice borns like Brahmanas will be given to the gratification of their desires.
to